Hey. Is that a chip?
Mm-hmm. Late July.
Oh, it's 10:30 your time. I was like 9:30. You have a chippy
Actually,
breakfast.
normally I eat my morning snack at 9:30, so this is kind of late for me.
Well, you wake up really early too.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Last week, I don't know what was going on, but from, 7 a.m. to about 1 p.m., I had like 4 meals for like 4. So hungry in the morning.
Wow.
I was just like boofing through food.
See, and that goes to show everybody that sometimes your body tells you when you need some more calories. Kelsey just needs more calories. You had a really busy week last week, so I think probably
I was busy. My time zone was weird, and I was just so hungry. I don't know what was going on. But then I would get to like 1 p.m., and then I'd be like, all right, cool, and I'd have a snack in the afternoon, and then I'd have dinner. But like, I don't know what was going on, but I was just like hungry.
Listen, sometimes.
And if anyone is curious, my body did not change at all.
That's so
Literally still the same.
Biggest thing the biggest thing I want you all to take away from these podcast episodes is that you do not need to be starving in order to be healthy.
Yes.
You do not need to be hungry in order to be healthy all the time. Of course, you want to be hungry and then eat, but you don't need to be continuously hungry and have to ignore those hunger cues, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Sorry, choking
on that chip. So, also, that kind of leads us to our theme today because we're talking about calories.
Oh my gosh.
Today.
That was such a good lead in without even realizing it.
I know. We're talking about diet culture. We're talking about calories. We're talking about metabolic rates. Oh my gosh, April, this is like so fitting. I'm really glad that I started this story.
Did we even say welcome?
No, we literally just started talking about breakfast.
Welcome everybody to the Taste Buds podcast. We're happy to have you here. Well, and I think that's such a perfect example, Kelsey, to show that our bodies aren't robots. You know, there will be some days when you're more hungry than others, and maybe you don't know why, but I think if you really think about it, you probably could figure out why. You know, maybe you have had a more stressful week at work, or you got more movement in than normal, or whatever it is. You know, I think a lot of people forget that our brains use up a lot of energy. So if you're having a stressful week at work or a stressful week, you know, at home taking care of your children, whatever your occupation is, you know, you could just be more hungry because of that.
Yeah. And something to keep in mind too is that it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter where it came from, why you're feeling that way. I mean, I would say if you're consistently feeling really, really hungry or consistently not feeling hungry for like a while, consistently not feeling hungry for a while or feeling really hungry for a while, you should maybe get it checked out. But like our bodies really normally, I know I've said it before, we're not, and April just said it, we're not machines. We're not one in, one out. Like sometimes we just need a lot more food and sometimes we don't need as much food. And that's okay. And that's totally fine. And honoring that hunger, like, for example, last week allowed me to get everything I need to get done, feel energized, eat my food, move on. Whatever. Right. I don't care. I don't care how much I eat because I felt good. And I just went on with my day.
And I can't imagine, you know, well, actually I can't imagine because I used to be in this place. It sucks to have to be in that place where you feel like you have to ignore those hunger cues and you just have to push through, quote unquote, push through the hunger and deal with it. No, you don't have to do that. That's not necessary. And I used to do that all the time. I would be like, oh, I need to be, you know, I just had this idea in my head that, you know, I was just always hungry, which means I need to eat less. And I had that logic in my head. So I used to ignore those cues all the time. And I have a lot of clients that do that too. And it's just so much fun to be able to tell them, you know, you can eat, you know, don't ignore those cues. That's the best part of my job.
I know. One of my favorite things is when I'm like, what are your nutrition struggles? And they're like, my nutrition struggles are, I'm always hungry in between meals. And I'm like, that's not a struggle. That's like an awesome thing. That means you get to eat snacks.
Yes, snacks.
I'm like, what do you mean you're struggling with being hungry? That's awesome. That means your body's working. Eat.
Yeah. And you know, that's the crazy thing too, is that diet culture makes everyone think that that's a struggle.
Yeah.
And it's to no fault of, you know, our clients, of course. That's just what our world says, is that, you know, you shouldn't be hungry. Hunger is
being
bad.
Hungry is bad.
Yeah.
No, it's good. I mean, your body's working.
Absolutely. I love it all. Okay, shall we jump into the questions?
Let's do it while we're here.
while we're here, we might as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer the first one, or do you want me to answer the first one?
I can answer the first one.
All right. First question of the episode. How do I actually know how many calories to eat? There's so much conflicting information out there. It gets so confusing.
Okay. So, to answer this question, is my favorite thing to talk about, is because our bodies, we have a calorie counter, an internal calorie counter. We've already got that. We don't need an app to tell us to eat, because our bodies know. A lot of us are out of touch with that calorie counter, and that's okay. A lot of us need to practice listening to our bodies and listening to those cues. A good way to start is, if you're really like, I have no idea when I'm hungry, I don't know when I'm full, I don't know how much I need to eat. If you're not sure, a good way to start is to just get into a normal routine. Start with a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, get some snacks in there maybe if you're feeling it. But really try to just get a balanced plate. And keep in mind, you don't have to finish your plate, and you can always get more if you need more. When you start with that really, really basic fundamental, and I know we've talked about kind of having those balanced plates before, but just making sure you've got protein, starch, fruits and veggies, maybe some dairy, maybe some fats on there. Like, try to get some good diversity on that plate. Eat as much as you need, move on. And really, once you kind of get into that routine, our bodies love, love, love routines. Once you kind of fall into that routine, you'll kind of go, ooh, I'm getting hungry. It's usually about lunchtime. Ooh, I'm getting hungry. It's about afternoon snacks. It's about dinner time. And then sometimes you might find, hey, I usually have snack at this time, but I'm not actually that hungry right now. Cool. Okay, that's fine too. And it takes some time and it takes some practice to get to that point. But when you start to get into that routine, I suggest trying to schedule a meal a meal or a snack every 2 to 4 hours ish. Once you get into that routine, your body will actually kind of start to let you know how it's feeling. And that also goes in with checking in with your body, bringing awareness to your body and saying, how am I feeling right now? Do I want food? Maybe it's not my usual time. Maybe I only ate an hour ago, but I'm feeling hungry. Cool. I'm going to honor that hunger cue and I'm going to get a snack. So really, it is just like learning what your body's saying, eating on a routine, if you need to practice getting into it. And then the more that you do your routine, the more that you're actually going to like get into that flow. It's like it's like yoga. At the very beginning, you want to follow the steps, step by step by step. And then as you get better and you get more flexible and you get more fluid, you go, ooh, this feels good. I want to do this one. Or, ooh, maybe I want to try this different thing. And it's the same with eating. At first you want to follow that step by step. But as you become more of a pro, you're like, hey, I have brunch at 11. What's going to feel good to me to eat at this weird time? Or like maybe I've got a Super Bowl food at 4 p.m. or I've got a party that's going to last me all day. How am I going to make that work? And that's kind of like pro level. But and those things come with time and they come with practice.
Yeah, I love everything you said, Kelsey. And I think just a few reminders, if you are really struggling with knowing how much to eat, you feel like maybe you're always hungry or you're never hungry and you're just confused and not really sure where to begin. Of course, we recommend searching out a dietitian that you trust and really connect with to help you through that journey, because nutrition is 100% individualized. So your journey and how to apply that to everything that Kelsey said to your specific life is going to be different than the person next to, family, friends, and everyone else. Definitely. So if you're really feeling like you're not able to navigate this on your own, just know that there are professionals out there to help. And then also remember that I think it can be so easy for people, especially those type A people or people that are saying, just tell me the amount of calories I need and I'll eat that. And it's just not that simple. As we've talked about before, your body's not robots. You need different amount of calories every day. So it can be all well and good to know those numbers, but that can also cause more issues because, for example, say you're supposed to eat X amount of calories a day, and there could be a day where you're not hungry enough for that amount of calories and you're forcing yourself to eat more. Or there could be a day where you're hungry for more than that amount of calories and you're stopping eating when your body needs more energy. Like we said, it does range from day to day. So getting that metabolism back to a good place where it's healthy and running as it should is kind of the main focus for us as dietitians, because then from there all you have to do is just listen to your body's hunger and fullness cues, and you're really in business. So
you're good to go.
you're good to go.
All right. Shall we move on?
We shall.
Here's the next question. How do I make sure I'm eating enough without tracking my calories or macros?
Another amazing question. And this kind of rolls off from what I was previously talking about, working with a dietitian, or if you feel like your hunger and fullness cues are, in check and they are where they should be, then that's the first step, is listening to them. If you're constantly hungry all the time, or if you're low in energy, at a certain time of the day, 2 p.m. hits and energy drops, or if you don't have enough energy to make it through your workout or something like that, then those are key indicators. You get irritable, tired. Those are key indicators that you may not be eating enough throughout the day. So those are a great way to tell if you're eating enough. And then also building that balanced plate to make sure you're getting the right macronutrients in. So if you're building that plate, half your plate fruits and vegetables, having a starch and a grain on there, protein, fat, dairy, and drinking water with it. So if you're making sure to apply that formula, if you will, to all meals and snacks too, then that'll help ensure you get the right amount of macro and micronutrients in. So I would say those are my 2 top recommendations to making sure you're getting enough calories and macros without counting them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts,
I
Kelsey?
love it. And look, like, some people really do like to count. They like to count the calories. They like to count their macros. And that's okay. Like, I'm not judging. If you want to do that, that's fine. But, I always, even if I have clients that want to do that, I always remind them, like, it's a loose guideline. Like I said earlier, like, we're not robots. It's not always the same every single day. So if you find that, hey, I've got whatever, my 2,000 calories, but I'm still hungry, eat some more. Like, it's okay if you need to do that. Or the other way around. I can't make it to this goal today. I'm just not hungry for it. Don't force yourself to eat either. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's okay. If it helps you hit your protein goals, if it helps you build muscle, if it's helping you, reach the goal that you want to do, go for it. But just keep in mind, it's a loose guideline. It's not strict numbers that you must follow every single day, because it's just not going to be the same. And it's not going to, be perfect. And it's never going to be perfect. And that's okay too. So just keep that in mind.
100%. And I would say the only time that maybe I would recommend someone maybe count more or pay more attention to their macro nutrient intake or caloric intake is if maybe your job is something along the lines of, you're an athlete, and you really just want to make sure you're getting enough calories and macros in so that you can perform well, so you're without getting injured, so you have enough energy to make it through, your movement, your games, or whatever it is. If you're more in the athletic realm, what you're doing 2-a-days, you're getting movement all day long. I would stress more of that counting, but for or bodybuilding, that sort of thing. But for us average Joes, it's certainly not necessary.
No, I agree. Okay. Yeah.
All right, next question. What exactly is BMR, and should we be eating what our BMR is?
So BMR is your basal metabolic rate, and this is just the amount of calories that you would burn. What?
When you ask, you're like, your basal metabolic rate?
Basal metabolic rate.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's the rate at which you don't do anything.
I love the hand gestures. Okay.
So this is literally if your body was just like laying down all day, you had nothing going through your brain. If you were a vegetable in a coma, this is the amount of calories you would still need each day. And a lot of people's BMR is like 1,500 to 2,000 calories. Like we need this energy. Some of it's even like some people are burning crazy. And things like muscle change this. Things like just like your body composition can really change that metabolic rate. The consistency that you eat will change your metabolic rate. So that is just the basic. On top of that comes the thermic effect of food, which is how much you burn just to digest food. And then there's also like your physical activity, walking around, thinking, like doing chores. And then like if you even want to include like you're running, your body, you're lifting, you're doing yoga, like those are you're using a lot of energy to do those things. So just that base rate is like being alive. Everything on top of that is like bonus. What was the second half of the question?
They were wondering if they should be eating at the BMR.
Okay. So that goes on to further the next part of the question. Do you want to be eating just your BMR? No. Because you need enough energy to not only stay alive, but also do the other things you want to do. Like thinking and yoga and walking around and doing your chores and
taking care of your kids.
Taking care of your kids, digesting food. Like you need that energy. If like if you just ate your BMR, you would be so tired, so fatigued. You'd probably decrease your BMR, and it's just not sustainable. You wouldn't be able to do it. It's when we get into that starvation mode is what a lot of people call it. But we get into that mode of like, I am at a lack. I'm lacking on energy here. And your body feels it. Your brain feels it. Your mindset will change. Your emotions will change. You probably won't be as super fun to hang out with. Yeah, it's not great. You want to make sure you're eating enough. Be a cool person.
The cool person that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. You never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, want to eat at or below your BMR. You always want to eat above your BMR, even if you are trying to be in a caloric deficit.
Yes.
I'm going to say that one more time. You never, ever, ever, ever want to eat at or below your BMR, even if you're wanting to be in a caloric deficit. So your caloric deficit, if you are looking to reduce the amount of calories you're eating, that number gets subtracted from a number that's way higher than your BMR. So we never want to eat at or below. People who are eating at or below, like Kelsey said, it can really damage your metabolism. It will really damage your metabolism if you're doing it for an extended period of time. Your body will even start to break down muscle to use for energy because it won't have enough. It just really messes with your whole system. So you can be in a caloric deficit and you should still be eating above your BMR because, like Kelsey said, we have other factors that are added on top of that, like our thermic effect of food, our daily movement, getting up, going to the bathroom, thinking, taking care of our family, our children, working. And then on top of that, the exercise you're doing too. So
that's bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Loved it. Did a great job answering that, Kelsey.
Thanks. All right. Last question, April. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Why do different diet programs put their clients on very low calorie diets, like 1,200 calories per day? And why is that so bad for their clients if they're seeing weight loss?
Great question. And I love this question. I think it's a really great one to kind of dive deep into this. So, the reason why diet programs will put people or their clients on very, very, very low calorie diets, such as 1,200 calories a day, is because you will see fast weight loss. And you will. And that's what people want. They want to see the numbers go down. However, there are so many things wrong with the way that they're approaching these diet programs. The 1,200 calories a day, I think, is just a number that, a lot of diet programs pinpoint. I feel very confident saying that most adults' BMRs are at or even above 1,200 calories. And as we just discussed, you never, ever, 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 ever want to eat at or below your BMR. So right off the bat, this is way too low. So the reason why, of course, they prescribe this is because you're going to see fast weight loss. But just like we've talked about in previous episodes, fast weight loss, it really isn't in general a good thing. This goes to answering the second part of the question, why is that so bad if their clients are seeing weight loss? So first and foremost, weight isn't the end all be all. It isn't everything, and it isn't the sole indicator of health. So just because you're seeing weight loss,
it's hardly an indicator of health.
Truly. So just because you're seeing weight loss doesn't mean that that's a good thing. And I always like to ask my clients this question, because a lot of them come to me saying they want that weight loss, and kind of ask them, if you and ask yourself this as you're listening to this episode, if you reached all of your health goals, if you had the energy you wanted, if you had no bloating or very minimal bloating, if you looked the way you wanted to look, if you felt comfortable in your clothing, if you reached all those health goals and you had a good relationship with food, but the numbers on the scale were the same or went up, would you care? And every single person has always told me no, they wouldn't care. So think about that too. Weight isn't the end all be all. And kind of like we've discussed before, losing weight that quickly is very, very dangerous. I diagnose people with malnutrition in the hospital a lot because they've lost weight so quickly, not because of dieting, because of other reasons such as cancer and things like that just they don't have control over. But losing weight too quickly is not good. First and foremost, it's just not sustainable. As an adult, you are just not sustainable to eat 1,200 calories a day. Your body needs more energy than that. You're severely damaging your metabolism by doing that. It's your metabolism, like Kelsey mentioned earlier, your body goes into this starvation mode. It thinks it's lost on a desert island and it doesn't know when it's getting its next meal. That's not good. Your body's going to start to break down all of your muscle to utilize as energy. It's just overall not good. There's nothing great about it. I would never ever recommend a 1,200 calorie diet to an adult. It's very dangerous, and these programs that do it's incredibly unethical that they're doing this and making their clients go on these diets. And the worst part about all of this, and this is such a trait of diet culture, is that these companies make their clients feel like failures if the clients aren't able to stick to the 1,200 calorie diet.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it say, well, you're not trying hard enough, you're not disciplined enough. Well, no, that's not it at all. 1,200 calories is not enough energy for an adult. It is not enough energy for an adult. So it has nothing to do with if you've been on these diets or the clients for being a failure, not trying hard enough, or not being disciplined. It has everything to do with it's so unethical to prescribe that amount of calories, and it's not healthy, and it's incredibly dangerous, and it's not enough energy for an adult. So hopefully I answered all of that.
I
started to get a little heated at the end there.
I know. Really fired up. One thing that I do kind of want to tack onto the end of this too is this really cool theory that I heard about from my preceptor when I was working at the eating disorder clinic. So there's this theory of something called fat cycling. And it's when people go on these crash diets, these 1,200 calorie 1,200 calorie diets, and or just really low calorie deficit, below their BMR, really just not feeling their bodies right. So you break down everything in your body to get energy. You break down fat, not only fat, but also muscle and tissue and important organs. Like your body uses whatever it can for energy. Mm-hmm. And then there's always the crash dieting part of it. It's not sustainable. Sometimes it goes into a binge and restrict cycle. Sometimes it just goes to a binge cycle. Sometimes it's just not working. You regain the weight. What happens though is that you regain the weight as fat first because that's what you need. And it takes a longer time to rebuild that muscle and rebuild that tissue and, your tendons and your joints. It takes away from that, but it takes a little bit longer to rebuild that stuff. Mm-hmm. But what happens is you gain weight again. You go, oh no, I need to lose weight again. So you go back on this crash diet and you lose the weight again. You're losing from fat, muscle, tendons, joints, tissue. And then when you gain weight again, it's just fat. So you don't have time to catch up on the other important things. So you're gaining fat, losing everything else, gaining fat, losing everything else. And to the point that your body gets so weak and brittle and your bones aren't strong and your muscles aren't strong and your joints aren't strong because all you're doing is just gaining fat and losing everything else because that's what you need to do to be protected. Instead, when you can kind of break that fat cycling cycle and give your body time to recover from this actually really stressful thing you've done to your body. Again, I'm not judging, but that's just kind of like what it is. It's really stressful for your body to go through this. When you give yourself some time to actually recover and rebuild that muscle, rebuild those tendons, rebuild those joints, like you can feel better. Because I'm sure if you've been going through this yo-yo dieting cycle, you really don't feel great. So I don't know. I think that's a super interesting theory that I've always been like, I've always thought about. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so it just kind of goes into that, like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Because that's another thing that these companies want you to do. They want you to come back because they know it doesn't work. Right. They know that you're going to come back.
It's set up for failure because
Exactly.
anyone would fail at that.
Yeah.
Because
Everyone.
it's not realistic. Everyone will.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I haven't heard that before. Maybe we should try to see what research we can find on that and
I
review
would love
that.
to. I would
That
love
would
to.
be really cool.
Yeah. It's a really interesting kind of theory.
And when you mentioned the eating disorder, that reminded me again of that woman from that the influencer in Texas that was arrested for endangering people with eating disorders, and she was prescribed.
Oh no, there you go.
With the amount of calories they should be eating a day, and some of them were like 1,200 calories a day.
Yeah, that's so not good. Something with eating disorder recovery, and I know this is like not related, but eating disorder recovery will almost always come with weight gain, and that's okay because weight isn't the issue. But you honestly, oftentimes, you cannot treat an eating disorder without a change in weight, and that's okay. Like it's like that's fine because weight isn't an indicator of health. But so many people are like, I'm going to treat your eating disorder and we're going to talk about weight. And it's like, no, weight shouldn't be a part of the picture at all when it comes to treating eating disorders.
Absolutely. That's or calories, counting calories or anything like that. And she's also legally not allowed to.
Also, yeah, she's not.
There's also the legal aspect, which is why she's
that is the main issue. But and anyway.
I actually posted about it because I was, just trying to let everyone know, give a PSA, be careful.
Getting fired up.
Be careful who you get advice from. And a few people responded to my post and said they had seen that she's previously been sued too. So,
oh my
gosh, Mamma Mia.
Stop doing that. Stop hurting people. Ugh. Anyway.
I was going to make one more point and I can't remember what it was.
That's okay.
Well, thank you everyone so much for tuning in for our episode. I know it was a little ranty this time, but we just get really fired up about calories and metabolism and eating enough calories.
Always. It's my number one thing that I talk about.
Yeah. Thank you everyone so much. Don't forget to like, rate, subscribe, comment, and most importantly,
ask us questions.
Yes. Ask us questions. Again, you can email us. We have the email in the bio. You can head over to our Instagram, click the link in our Instagram bio and submit a question. You can DM us questions. We take them in all shapes and sizes and forms.
Yes. Any which way possible. We appreciate it. We hope you all have a lovely day.
Lovely.
And we will talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks.